Mod from Modifications here. So today I have my 2022 Kia EV6 yet again. Lots of coverage on this channel for this car specifically. But today's video is going to focus on one thing that I felt like could have used improvement right off the bat when I bought this car, which was the suspension. So if you've been following my channel, probably about a year ago, I actually ended up buying the Eibach Springs, and they were actually designed for the Ioniq 5. However, I was able to find a dealer in the UK who was able to ship me the product. First of all, if you're actually curious about how to install springs on an EV6, I painstakingly made a video. I didn't really know much about the car at the time, but I did make a video to show everybody how to install springs on it. Fairly simple, pretty standard when it comes to a car. I think the hardest part is just putting the back together, but also making sure you jack the car up properly because it is a heavy car with battery and everything like that. But anyway, check that video out. I've been fairly vocal about the Eibachs, meaning the Eibachs lower the car the perfect amount. It looks super good when you have the car lowered on the Eibach Springs. However, that's really where the pros stopped with the Eibachs. And I installed them, I drove around on them, and they were okay. They felt pretty stiff, but they felt good. They felt better than stock at first. Really, the big things that I don't like about this car when it comes to suspension is it has a lot of floatiness when you're on the highway, and it has a lot of body roll. But also, it sits like a 4x4. And now that, I get it. A lot of people love the higher look. Also, a lot of people love the clearance that you get with this car, which honestly isn't that great in the first place. So a lot of people don't want to lower this car, and I get it, and that's fine. But if you are curious about lowering your car, watch this video, because I am going to cover what I feel like is one of my favorite modifications I've done, which is the Storm Springs. So how much do the Storm Springs actually lower my car? So I have one caveat real quick. The Storm Springs that I have on my car currently are the Korea spec springs. Storm has told me that they're also working on potentially designing a US spec spring, which will potentially lower the car a little bit more. But I haven't gotten the final specs or any finalization of that information just yet. Obviously, I'll update as we go. But these springs were designed specifically more for performance than for a drop. So that being said, without trying to voice my opinion in everything I say, let's do some hard facts. So the Eibach Springs that I had, the rear was pretty level. The rear looked a little lower than I'd like on the Eibachs, but it was fine. The Storm Springs does definitely a little bit less of a drop, but I do get much better performance out of these. Now, whether or not that's because there's more shock travel, I don't know. I just know that this spring rate works significantly better on the EV6 than the Eibachs did. So if you're looking for that really low look, you're probably not going to get it with these Storm Springs specifically. However, if you're looking for a slight drop where it closes the gap a little bit, but it makes your wheels look a little bit better, but at the same time you're gaining a lot more performance benefits out of it. And when I say performance, I don't mean all of a sudden you're going to have a race car. What I mean is even from a daily driving, these springs will deliver what I believe are the best results. I think the Storm Springs are a really good solution for majority of EV6 owners who are looking for that subtle drop, but a gain in performance. So from a daily driving perspective, these springs work really well. The car has a little bit of a bounce on the back, but it's nowhere near as that juddering harshness that I had with the Eibachs. The way it soaks up the bumps is really good. It stays on track. In all honesty, I don't ever feel like this is way too rough. Now, some of the roads that I drive around here in Plano are pretty rough, but I have never once been like, man, I really don't like the way this drives. So I'm on a pretty bumpy road, and it does move around a little bit, but that's expected. But it's so much better than it was stock, where I felt like every bump was kind of like a big bubbly, floaty feeling. I can corner really hard, and while I'm on the highway, it feels not floaty at all. So it's really hard for me to kind of emphasize on how great this actually works, you know, through a video. But if you're looking for that daily driving capability, now that's subjective, right? Some people think the Eibachs are fine. But if you're looking for that daily driving capability with a lot more sportiness, just more of a stable feel, this spring set is 100% perfect. I absolutely love it.